everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the first half of June and in particular the full moon that we have coming up in Sagittarius on the 9th. Now, the good thing about this first part of June is that we have some of the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all starting to move forwards and changing signs. So, for instance, on the 5th of the month, we have Mars moving from Gemini into Cancer. The 6th of the month, we have Venus moving from Aries into Taurus, the sign that it rules. And on that same day, we have Mercury moving from Taurus into Gemini, the sign that it rules. So we have this sense of forward motion and momentum. And if you found that you've been a bit stuck or projects aren't moving ahead as fast as you like, or you felt a bit frustrated or blocked, this can really help you. We're beyond the retrograde Mercury, for instance, at this time. And what adds to that is on the 9th of the month, when we have the full moon, in fact, just 2 hours after the full moon, Jupiter becomes stationary and then also moves direct as well. That's at 13 of Libra. So this is very helpful to create this feeling of productivity and forward motion. So, for instance, see where those early degrees of Cancer fall in your chart, because Mars will be moving through those. Mars will energize, activate, make things happen in those early degrees of Cancer, whichever house in your birth chart that falls in. With Jupiter, because we know it's the planet of expansion, it can bring success, abundance, a bigger world in whatever house it's falling in your chart at 13 degrees of Libra. So this is very, very positive. And we also have another lovely thing happening, in fact, right through June, which is the amount of creativity we're going to have, because Venus is in its own sign of Taurus, as I mentioned. This is about beauty and colour and being in nature, the abundance of nature, and the senses are very much heightened with Jupiter in Taurus. It's very, very creative, almost in a tactile sense, because the senses are so strong with that. Mercury in Gemini is also very creative, more in a mental sense, in a observation writing sense. It's also very sociable, but it's a kind of non-orthodox creativity, if you like. It's non-conformist, but both of them are very creative. We also have, really right through the whole of the month of June, we have a grand trine in fire. Now this is between the North Node, which will be at 26 degrees of Leo, Saturn in Sagittarius between 23 and 25 degrees of Sagittarius, and Uranus at 27 of Aries. So they form a kind of equilateral triangle. Now this is great for, again, ideas, creativity. Uranus represents those brilliant insights, those out-of-the-blue ideas that sort of come from a higher level. It's our superconscious perception. But we are not only able to ground them, because of the aspect of Saturn, make them practical and make them durable, we're also going to be very much thinking of the future. North Node is where our collective destiny is headed. So it may well be through this month we'll be thinking up new ways to do things, better ways to do things, but that can blend with the old and become long-term features in society. I mean, it can very much affect us personally as well, but because the North Node is a collective point of destiny, it may well be that new things are invented in society, and particularly using technology, which of course is Uranus. Very much encourages you to become self-sufficient as well, maybe grow some of your own food, and that's going to become much stronger, I think, when Uranus moves into Taurus in May 2018, but much more of that later. Then on the 9th of June at 6:09 a.m. Pacific time and 2:09 p.m. UK time, we have a full moon at 18 degrees 53 minutes of Sagittarius. So this is a very interesting full moon. The symbolism is quite complex, but first of all, just to say that full moons, as always, bring things to a head. They bring things to culmination, to fruition. We get the results of what we've earned. They can reveal things. They shine a light wherever 19 degrees of Sagittarius falls in your chart. They're shining a light. This is going to be interesting as well, because this falls on the moon of the US president, and the moon for him rules the 11th house of politics and popularity. So something will be either revealed or coming to a head at that point. That's going to be interesting to see. And I mention that because, of course, he's so dominant on the world stage. But Sagittarius is the planet of truth, very strongly associated with truth. But sometimes it can become quite a dogmatic truth. It becomes my truth against your truth, my truth in capital letters. So in its shadow sense, it can tend towards judgment or very strong opinions. It can be critical of other people's opinions. So it's a double-edged sword of truth, if you like, but truth not nevertheless. And at the full moon, we have Saturn conjunct the moon. Now, this emphasises honesty, integrity, realism, being highly principled. And these are very, very important qualities, not only at this full moon, but running right up to 2020, in fact, that if personally or corporately there has been a lack of integrity, you are likely to see justice on that, because integrity is going to become an incredibly important principle as we move through the next 3 years. So it's important here as well, being of high principle, being honest and having integrity. So that's very much the truth side. However, at this full moon, we also have Neptune square to the sun and the moon. Now, this is wonderful for creativity. It emphasizes our creative theme this month because Neptune is highly creative. It perceives very finely. It can perceive intangibles. It's quite ethereal. You can get a beautiful quality of light when you're working with Neptune. It's very much connected to photography and film and poetry, music. So very strong on the creative side. And of course, it's the planet of spirituality. It's connected to compassion and healing and miracles and unconditional love. So it's really wonderful. So meditation around this time, meditation in nature, because Venus is in Taurus too, is going to be really sustaining and nurturing for us at this time. However, if we go back to our theme of truth and we think of the shadow side of Neptune, it is sometimes things not being as they seem, things not being clear. It can even go as far as some deceit or scandal or secret that may be revealed at the time of the full moon or round about then. It can be, a good week to either side of that. But it's interesting as well because at the spring equinox in March, if you set that chart for Washington, Neptune was on the ascendant at that time too. So again, there's a theme of things not being clear, things not being as they seem. And then on the 16th of the month, we have Neptune becoming stationary retrograde. So whenever a planet is stationary, its symbolism is amplified. So it's going to be very interesting, a week or so to either side of this full moon, to see what comes up. But it's essentially a theme of what is true and what is not, what is real and what is fake. It's truth versus illusion. So this really suggests not to get too polarized, not to get too fixed in your truth or your version of the truth or how you see it or how you see what's happening in the world, because those sands could shift as we move through the month. What appears to be true earlier in the month can take on a very different hue as we move through to the middle and the end of the month. So it's align yourself to your own intuition and your own higher guidance with this. But it's a big full moon because not only because it's in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, but Jupiter also becomes stationary, as I mentioned earlier, just 2 hours after the full moon. So wherever Jupiter is sitting in your chart, it can really, as I mentioned earlier, at 13 of Libra, bring in that sense of abundance and success. So, and equally, if you have anything round about 13 degrees of the cardinal signs, those are Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, you might really be feeling that sense of expansion in your world. So very, very positive in that sense. We also have two other aspects which are important at the full moon. One is an almost exact quincunx within 3 minutes between Pluto at 19 of Capricorn and the Sun at 19 of Gemini. Now this is about issues of power, issues of control or manipulation or power play really. So that may be obviously happening in the world, but if you have anything around about 19 of Capricorn or Gemini, you might be sensing that in your own life as well. Some sense of control happening for you. Also, we have another really beautiful quincunx, which we also had at the end of May, between Jupiter and Neptune. Jupiter at 13 of Libra, Neptune at 14 of Pisces. And this is this mystical, beautiful, big dreams, bigger horizons sense. It sees a bigger spiritual picture. It wants to move to a more perfect reality. So whatever is happening in the world, again, don't get too caught up in the minutiae, because this will help us see a bigger picture, a bigger vision of whatever is unfolding. It has a bigger meaning, and this will help us to see it. So very, very interesting, quite complex symbolism in this full moon, but also Jupiter moving forwards just 2 hours after the full moon, because it's in Libra. If you've had any relationship issues, because Jupiter has been retrograde since the 6th of February, because it's in Libra, that's why I'm saying relationship, perhaps those can start to ease and start to move forwards again. Now, from the 9th, Jupiter will be moving forwards. And again, particularly that's the case if you have anything around about 13 degrees of Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Then on the 12th of the month, the moon moves into Capricorn and forms its regular T-square, which it does on a regular basis because the moon moves very quickly. So on the 12th, the moon moves to conjunct Pluto, square Jupiter in Libra, and also a little while later square Uranus and Eris in Aries. So this can bring strong feelings, extreme feelings very, very much. Now they're transient because they only last a day, but it could be feelings around finance, it could be feelings around practical security, and as always with the moon, because it's emotion, it can bring up issues around relationship too. So a lot happening in this first half. The energy starts to shift quite a lot in the second half, and we're moving into some very strong energy in July and certainly in August with those very powerful eclipses that I'm sure you've already heard about. So just follow these updates to track those. If you'd like more information about my book, my audiobook, my tutorial videos, my free, it's now a subscriber, but very good value monthly newsletter, several thousand words, just check out my website, pamgregory.com. And if you don't know where these aspects fall in your chart, just check out this link appearing above. That will take you to my store. You can buy a 2-part video series, and that would be so helpful for you to answer the what does it mean for me questions, in terms of if you don't know where these are falling in your chart, you can get so much more meaning and depth and richness in understanding where they fall, and that can help you just to follow these unfolding cosmic patterns in your life, and that becomes quite a profound journey, even starting from zero knowledge right now. So very much encourage you to do that. And thanks so much for listening, and see you next time around. Take care. Enjoy this big, beautiful full moon in Sagittarius on the 9th.